Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to your Thursday edition of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Michael Lonan, and a pretty good day out there. A little less humid, and we had a mix of those sun and clouds. Felt pretty good out there for July standards here down in Tallahassee. We still have some cloud cover over Doak Campbell Stadium from our FSU WeatherStem cam. Now, for the next 24 hours, that stalled out boundary that tried to move south, it's right now in central Florida, is expected to remain south of us. So we'll have those mix of sun and clouds for your overnight hours and into tomorrow morning. And then if we do get any shower activity, it's most likely to be down towards the Swanee River Valley, down towards Perry Cross City and that I-75 corridor for tomorrow. Now for your evening planner, temperatures will cool down gradually into those upper to mid 70s, 75 at 12 a.m. And for your 3-day forecast, another drier day on Friday with a 30% chance of rain. And then that boundary slowly lifts up to the north as we get into Saturday and Sunday. So that will increase the rain chances to around 50 to 60%. And those temperatures are still going to be in the upper 80s to around 90 degrees. Now let's send off to Tyler to take a look at the rest of the nation.
Thank you, Michael. And if there's one word to describe the rest of the country, it's really warm but comfortable for the summertime. Albuquerque is our hot spot at 94 degrees, but everyone else is feeling pretty comfortable. The only place that isn't really feeling too great is Miami. They're getting a lot of rain. So is the rest of Central Florida, but they got lower temperatures to kind of offset that as well. Boston also feeling great at 75 degrees right now. And our feels like temperature shows that it still feels pretty great all throughout. Tallahassee does have a feels like temperature of 94, a little bit higher than the actual temperature, but there's places like Atlanta and Memphis and even Albuquerque where their feels like temperature is colder than what the actual temperature is outside. That's because they've had drier air, especially for Atlanta where that cold front moved through. They got a lot drier air, so they're feeling a lot more comfortable. We can see in the upper levels, this dry air right here behind the cold front that stalled out, turned into a stationary front in central Florida. Still got a lot of moisture for all of Florida. And then as we go towards the west, a little bit more moisture over New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, and Arizona. And then our surface map shows this exact pattern. It's high pressure systems dominating the central parts of the country, that stationary front in Florida, and then we have a new front starting to move through the central part of the country, and that's what's bringing some rain for some of these central states such as Nebraska. Getting up to Minneapolis, they actually have a 2 out of 5 risk for a severe storm. Our dew point temperatures pretty dry all throughout. Atlanta with a dew point of 55 degrees. That's feeling pretty great for them. Billings getting all the way down to 26, but Tallahassee and Miami getting a lot more moisture. And then our satellite and radar showing rain moving through Iowa and Minneapolis right now. We're going to zoom into that real quick. International Falls getting hit pretty hard by rain right now, and then south of Minneapolis seeing some rain as well. As for fire weather, we have a fire weather warning in Billings and also in south of Portland, Oregon right now. Also some excessive heat in San Francisco and Las Vegas, and then some air quality warnings in parts of Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico. Futurecast shows that places that are having rain right now are going to keep seeing that rain for the next 2 days or so, and especially Florida with that stalled out front is just going to continue to bring rain for us over the next 6 to 10 days, expecting a 40% chance of having higher precipitation than normal in the green spots, and then a 40% chance of having lower precipitation than usual in those orange spots. And then for our temperatures, 40% chance of having below average temperatures here in the gray. Here in the red, 60% chance of having above average temperatures. And then the orange part, that's about a 50% chance as well. So the south, much of the southeast is going to be expecting a temperature drop, but for everyone else expecting some higher temperatures than normal as we go through the next week. But for now, I'm going to pass things off to Harrison. He's going to give us our first local look of the
Thank you, and we're going to start things off with the almanac today, where our high today was 90 degrees, a little bit below average, which is 92 for this time of year, and well away from our record of 99 degrees set back in 2012. As we look at our current temperature outside, we're still sitting at 90 degrees with that high for the day. We do have some clouds around, although it is a little bit sunnier than that graphic might lead on. Our dew point is at 68, so we are starting to get some of that moisture return, and we do have winds out of the northeast at 5 miles an hour. Our feels like temperatures across the region, 94 is a feels like here in Tallahassee. It's only 90, but a little bit of moisture makes it feel a little bit hotter. 89 degrees for your feels like in Quincy, 89 in Apalachicola, even though it's only 84 degrees. There's a lot more moisture down by the coast, and you can really see that here. 71 in Apalachicola, 74 in Carabel. As you get further north, though, Tallahassee 68, Quincy only about 64, so that's pretty dry for this time of year. As we look at our satellite and radar here, we do have some upper level cirrus clouds starting to make their way back in to the region as that front does start to lift north, but not really anything going on at the surface here, so we don't see a whole lot of rain. You can see that as we zoom out in the water vapor, you can start to see some of these upper level clouds drifting back northward into the Tallahassee Big Bend region here. We also have this these orange colors, which represents the dry air. You see that upper trough, which has helped drive through this cold front. But again, that's going to start to degrade and lift out to the northeast. And once that happens, our moisture return and sea breeze showers will return here in Tallahassee. As you look at our RPM forecast, they are picking up on a few showers overnight tonight. However, they're stuck to the coast. And tomorrow, again, we do see a couple showers developing towards the eastern portions of the viewing region. But we're only going to have about a 30% chance of rain here in Tallahassee. For your day planner tomorrow, we are looking at a high near 90, 88 degrees at 4 p.m., 84 at noon, and we are going to keep that chance for 30% chance for rain in the forecast. Again, our feels like temperature tomorrow, as that moisture returns, will be in the middle 90s. And then as we look at our week ahead, we are going to have those temperatures start to come back and rebound. We're sitting at about 88 for the next 2 days. We do see some of that rain come into the forecast here. 50% chance of rain Saturday, 60% Sunday, and we tail it off a little bit as we get into next week. But again, those temperatures, when you get the sun returning, you're going to start to see those temperatures rebound into the lower 90s here, and not a whole lot of relief at night. It felt pretty good this morning. However, tomorrow 71 degrees for your low, and we're going to keep those temperatures in the mornings in the lower 70s. And then even as we get into next week here, you are going to see those temperatures get all the way up to 75 for your morning low here in Tallahassee. But for now, we're going to go ahead and take things off to the desk where we're going to talk about the heat wave.
Yeah, if you think 90 degrees over here is hot, let's go into Europe, and man, it's baking out there.
Oh, I mean, absolutely ridiculous. Look at this. Paris, 109 degrees, set the all-time record.
And it broke it by 4 degrees, which is insane.
Yeah, I mean, that's like Las Vegas type temperatures. That's desert, not typical for Paris, France.
Yeah, exactly. And then out towards the UK, London Heathrow got to 37.9 degrees Celsius, which is 100 degrees in Fahrenheit. Cambridge got to 38.1 degrees centigrade, which is 101 degrees Fahrenheit.
So give me the breakdown, Michael. Tell us what's going on in making these hot temperatures.
So you know how it's felt very delightful across the eastern two-thirds of the country? There's a little bit of a trough in the eastern two-thirds of the country. Where you have a trough in one area, you have to have a ridge in another area. And that ridge is in Europe, out of all places.
Right, and so what that's doing is it's helping to force some sinking air across Europe, and what that does is it compresses and heats the air up a little bit. And so now we're seeing a lot of really high temperatures, and it also is helping to drag some air out of Africa. So you also get that.
That's why it looks very hazy when you step outside in a lot of these European cities because of that Saharan dust coming up into continental Europe.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Saharan dust can sometimes stop tropical cyclones from forming, but in this case, it's because it's getting really hot.
So London's average high for this time of year is 74. They were 100 today. Now a cold front's going to sweep through tonight, and their temperature tomorrow, 77.
Much more typical. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, much nicer out there. So let's take a look at the southeast, where it actually, again, feels delightful across the interior locations. Once again, Atlanta, my hometown, 86 degrees, and it feels awesome outside if you do step outside. And then Tupelo is also at 87 degrees. Meanwhile, Tallahassee is around 90 degrees, a little bit humid down towards Florida, which is pretty typical for this time of year. But the rest of the southeast, again, feeling awesome outside. Now with the satellite and radar, that stalled out boundary is still lingering around central Florida, and that for that reason, ahead of that boundary, you do have those scattered showers and thunderstorms. And this is going to be the main story for the next 2 days at least. The stalled out boundary in central Florida. Meanwhile, the rest of the southeast still gets to enjoy that somewhat fresher air with those lower dew points. Now with the infrared, you can notice all the moisture ahead of that stalled out boundary. The brighter colors indicates those higher moisture and colder cloud tops. Meanwhile, the rest of the southeast is clear, and you can only notice some higher level clouds across the rest of the southeast. The winds are still northerly across a lot of the southeast, and that's what's bringing that dry air still from Canada. Meanwhile, down in Florida, you have those winds coming off the Gulf and somewhat off the Atlantic, and that's bringing in the moisture for those showers and thunderstorms ahead of that stalled out boundary. And ahead of that stalled out boundary still feels very tropical with dew points in the mid to low to mid 70s. Meanwhile, behind that boundary is dew points still in the 50s. And for July standards, that is the best you can get. 55 in Atlanta, 59 in Montgomery, 56 in Tupelo. And the dew point's actually lower than this time yesterday. It's been dry across the southeast for a majority of the week, so having dew points this low for this long is definitely a treat in the southeast. Now, with the lower dew points, the feels-like temperature, and this is a rarity for July, is actually lower than your air temperature. It's honestly incredible having these types of conditions at the end of July. Meanwhile, down in Florida, with the higher dew points in the 70s, your feels-like temperature is a little bit warmer compared to your air temperature, unfortunately. So for the next 36 hours, the stalled-out boundary remains in central Florida. Ahead of that, you have your scattered showers and thunderstorms. High pressure still dominates the rest of the southeast, so you'll have those lower dew points for about a day or two before that humidity starts to return as we go into Saturday and Sunday. But still, sunny skies, very ideal conditions for some activities outside. The HRRR also says the same thing with some scattered showers south of that boundary in central and southern Florida with clear conditions across the rest of the southeast. Now, as Tyler alluded earlier, the southeast might be a little bit below normal, around normal for this time of year. So upper 80s, low 90s, pretty nice. And then down towards Florida will be a little bit warmer. And then we'll take a look at what's happening with our local forecast back into the humid part of Florida with Tyler.
Thanks, Michael. And our drought monitor shows Tallahassee is kind of dry right now, but the rest of the Panhandle, we really gotten rid of those drought-like conditions and not even really dry either, getting a lot of rain for much of the Big Bend region. Really, the places that should be worried about droughts are southern Alabama, especially Dothan, in a severe drought as we speak. Rainfall for today, we didn't get any. We're usually expecting about a quarter of an inch for this time of the year, but we didn't get any. And then for the month, we're a little bit higher than normal, about 2.5 inches. So for the year, we have a 9-inch deficit of rain, but we're starting to make that up slowly but surely. Our local temperatures show mid or lower 90s to upper 80s for the most part, with Apalachicola getting all the way down to 84 degrees. So really comfortable temperatures, especially considering last week when we were in the upper 90s. I'll take these temperatures every day of the week. And Tallahassee has a 5-mile-per-hour wind, Quincy up to 7, so just slightly breezy conditions for most of the Big Bend. Our satellite and radar doesn't show any rain for any area of the Big Bend region, just some ground clutter is what you're seeing here in Tallahassee. We have some cloud coverage to our southwest and also to the southeast over Cross City and Lake City, seeing some cloud coverage, but for most of us, clear skies. And as we zoom out to the rest of the southeast, we have a stationary front. It was a cold front that pushed through Tallahassee. It's situated over central Florida right now, still bringing them rain, also some rain situated here in the Gulf. But the rest of the southeast also not really seeing much rain. And then the HRRR forecast is a model we have that shows us our future forecast for rain. So over Friday and Saturday, expecting some scattered showers, so a little bit more rain than what we got today and yesterday, which was none because our cold front pushed a little too far south of us and didn't bring us any rain. And then for our rain chances for the next week or so, St. Mark's 40%, Tallahassee 30%, Quincy also 30%. Basically, as we get towards the southeast, more rain chances, but as we get towards the northwest, less rain chances. And then for the next 1 to 3 days, expecting about an inch in St. Mark's, Tallahassee getting more into the half-inch area, and then the northwest getting less rain once again, about 1/4 of an inch of rain. And then our week ahead, Friday, going to keep those chances around 30%, and then Saturday, Sunday, those rain chances are going to start to pick up into 50 and 60%. This temperature is also going to get up a little bit, up to 90 degrees, and then as we get into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, rain chances drop a little bit back to our normal summertime pattern of 40%, and then as we get into Thursday, rain chance is going to pick back up again to 50%. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, those are going to be the days that are feeling best for you next week. So if you have any plans, playing on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But that's all we have for tonight. I hope you guys have a great night.